nobody like this. You ain't seen nobody like this. You hear my sound all over town singing. Whoa. You ain't seen nobody like this. You ain't seen nobody like this. You hear my sound all over town singing. Whoa. I think there's something in the water. If you wanna take a sip, but be careful what you wish for. The faint of heart can't handle it. Everybody wants a piece of someone else's prize, but it ain't free, it don't come cheap. Only the strongest will survive. You ain't seen nobody like this.
Man, that's the wrong way to start the show. All right, let's try this again. And welcome to SanAntonio Soccer Roundtable. Shout out to in keeping with the tradition. Sorry, I got choked up prepping for it. Got a frog stuck in my throat. But Rafa, tryouts are done. Unfortunately, cuts have been made. Matt didn't make our team, I don't think. He's on trial basis. We'll see if he's able to make it from the bench.
Maybe he can do the SAFC one. They're at Star.
Matt will be bringing the drums. So kicking off high schools season, we're going to go over TAPPS, because TAPPS for winter soccer has kicked off. Well, some teams have kicked off, some teams haven't. Before that's, I think SanAntonio Christian on the ladies' side already had played 10 matches. Others haven't played at all. So we'll kind of go over that, touch base with that. TAPPS usually gets started pretty quick. And then, of course, they hit the playoffs even quicker. And we're going to go over 4A. We're going to schedule next week to preview 5A. At this time, we may have the head coach of John Jay Boys and the head coach of MacArthur Girls, who switched districts, right? Districts, not districts.
District. Yeah.
District.
Who is that? Who is that Mac coach? We don't.
I don't know.
He might be his first time coming on.
Maybe. But just for full disclosure, and of course, I will. When we go over this, full disclosure. AJ transferred from Stevens to John Jay. So the NIL money, the UIL money did not kick in. So we will be covering that. So instead of my rooting interest for Stevens, I'll still root for them because they're the school closest to me. But I'll be Team J this year for that here along those lines. And so when it's Jay and MacArthur, that should be kind of interesting with Coach Cano for that here. Rafa, anything that you want to add in to open up? I guess the other thing here, the other big thing, 6A, we're going to be covering Medina Valley, was it Del Rio, Eagle Pass, and Laredo schools for that year.
Yeah, 4.
4?
Yeah, the 4 United ISD schools.
So that'll be a new addition that we haven't done it, but Medina Valley's been part of our coverage all along. Rafa has deep connections with Del Rio for that here, so there'll be a welcome addition. Eagle Pass, a lot of us SanAntonians go and visit and donate money, so we might as well include them. And Laredo, well, they got packaged into the group, so that's probably the big changes on our side. Rafa, well, I think Matt's going to be coming on to help you out, right? And Coach Steve. So if you want to kind of introduce or kind of go over what's going to be kind of new or what to expect from you.
Yeah, so we're gonna have some more coverage as far as we'll be out in the streets, whether it's a live stream game, maybe me and Matt, maybe Coach Steve and I, or maybe to pop in a little live cover, like a little live from the games. We're really gonna hit as much as we can, even though, like I said, I know with my schedule, work schedule, I'm the traveling man, so I'll be out of town on sometimes. But like I said, we're gonna have. I think we also have some. We may have someone else also be taking some pictures for us. We'll introduce that soon. We're working on that. Some more coverage. So we're gonna be out and about. Like I said, when you're top dog here in San Antonio, you gotta.
Too early to start claiming that.
As far as coverage wise, it's just like I said, we want to give the best. We're here for the players, and we're excited. It's gonna be a fun season, especially with all the new changes, especially with the playoffs and some interesting districts. Especially when we talk to 5A, that one 5A district. Talk about the group of death. We'll analyze that, and then also, like I said, follow also our partners at 50/50 Podcast too with Coach Cano. If you want information on statewide soccer, like I said, I'm on there too as well. I'm actually probably going to be doing some live streams from other cities for games. You may catch one in the Permian Basin. You may catch one in Centex. Where am I going to be at? So we're going to have a lot of surprises. But it's fun. Like I said, it's just a coverage, and then I am working on something. Hopefully I can get it done soon. If not, like I said, what I'm working on, I think it's going to change kind of the landscape of here, especially here in San Antonio. But it's going to be fun. I think they're going to get a kick out of this, and I'll just look forward for this season. Like I said, it's already kicked off with TAPPS. Like I said, I did go to our game. Pretty much the kickoff was actually the Central Catholic Relator St. Augustine game. I was there, live streamed that one. Great game. Congrats to my buddy, Coach Bart Valerio, coach buddy of mine from when we were Club America Soccer Academy when I first moved here. So that's how long we've known each other. So congrats on him getting his first win there at Central Catholic. And I did have a little chat with him. We'll go to, like I said, we'll get to talk more about Central Catholic, what they have to look forward to coming this season.
And then one final thing, never too early to talk about bracketology. Our high school bracketology that will be coming again soon. We got to see how the brackets align, and when we get to the UIL portion, when we go through the 4A, and we'll probably do it for each show, 5A and 6A. Ralph will do a little explainer because on the standings we've updated where the student population is, I guess is the word, or enrollment in the figure numbers, because that does matter, because with UIL, they broke up in, just like football, Division 1, Division 2. So depending on top 4 and the different number of students or athletes that you have, or students that you have, I guess I should say, that can determine whether you're in D1 or D2. So that means that there will be twice as many state champions this year compared to last. So other big things that have changed, that I don't think this has gone to TAPPS, but UIL adopted a mercy rule, where I think it's if you're beyond 60 minutes, I believe it is, right? For that here, and you're up by 8-0 or by 8 goals, that they can call the game from there. So that'll be kind of interesting to see in some of these preseason tourneys, friendlies, whatever that you want to, scrimmages. Well, I guess they're not scrimmages, preseason tourneys, on how that kind of shapes up here. But let's get it in, look at where we're at TAPPS-wise here for the soccer standings for that here. So we're going to do the boys first. So far, Austin St. Michael Catholic 4-2, St. Dominic Savio 3-2, Antonian 3-3, St. Anthony, Central Catholic 2-0-1, and TMI just has the one draw based on the new standings page. Through TAPPS, if you go to the TAPPS webpage, if you go under standings, they have a real nice page that's updated, and it seems like it gets updated fairly quickly. I will make the disclosure. If you look at the TAPPS alignment sheet, there are teams that are listed there that are not on the standings. So I don't know if they just haven't played and just not on there, or if the teams are not participating this year. So that'll be something to kind of look out for that here. But looking at Region 1, Division 3, the Austin schools, at least early, seem to be off to a fairly good start. Your thoughts on Antonian and Central Catholic? I know you already saw Central Catholic earlier.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, with Central Catholic, like I said, back-to-back runner-ups. Like I said, is this year they finally, break through and get the state title, which has kind of eluded them for the last few years. But now they're in a real tough district. Like I said, St. Michael's not going to be a slouch, nor is Dominic Savio. And then you have a TMI team that's moving up from Division 2 to Division 1, and TMI has had a good reputation as in the Division 2, going deep in the playoffs. So this is going to be pretty stacked and very competitive. And I could see, like I said, maybe two of these teams getting to that Final Four, in Round Rock for TAPPS, come early March. So. But I think, talking to the staff there at Central Catholic, like I said, I think they're pretty confident. I think they're going to try to do, like I said, they know what the task is at. I think they want to finish the job. I think they have the players to do it. If everything can come together under the new system, I see good things coming up. And like I said, same thing. And Antonian, Antonia's kind of been that team that, they're on the brink, and then they kind of have a little hiccup, and then they kind of fall short. We'll see this year. Like I said, so far, like I said, they have an even record, but I'm sure they're playing some tough teams early on to get them prepared for this district, because they know this district's going to be tough. So it's going to be a dogfight. But I still favor Central Catholic on this one. I think they'll pull through, and we'll see how they do. So hopefully all three teams in San Antonio get represented for this district going to the playoffs.
Yeah. So. Antonian has played. They drew St. Andrews. They beat St. Augustine Laredo 3-0. They beat St. Mary's Hall 1-0. Drew Houston Christian. Lost to St. Prius X out of Houston by 6-0 in a tournament. Beat Northland Christian High School 4-2. And then lost to St. John and lost to Green Hill. I'm not sure where those schools are, but back-to-back days for those schools. And then they get St. Prius, or they drew St. Prius X again on December 7th here. So in a tournament on November 22nd, they lost 6-0, but then they came back and drew them away. So. That St. John's, Green Hill, and St. Prius X probably was a tournament, looking at it, because that's the 5th, 6th, and 7th for that here. So, but Antonian plays Lanier and McCollum after the January 2nd for that here. So, just to kind of see the different teams that they had played for that here. So moving on to Region 2, Division 3, Laredo, St. Augustine, 3-2, 1-0 in district, who had beat Brownsville St. Joseph for their first game. San Antonio Christian, 1-0. St. Mary's Hall Barons, says 2-0 on the schedule, although it just said that they lost the one. And then St. Anthony, the Yellow Jackets, 0-3 so far. Your thoughts on Region 2, D3? And I guess to me it's San Antonio Christians, right? They're the ones that we typically favor, and then the Brownsville and Laredo schools. Yeah,
with San Antonio Christian, like I said, I think they're going to be the top dog for this district. And but remember, last year was kind of a little dogfight with St. Joseph's, but it looks like with St. Augustine, actually, I did get to see St. Augustine play, and decent team. A little surprised that they knocked off St. Joseph. So St. Joseph may be rebuilding after last year's team, so I think they might be young. So is this an opportunity for maybe like St. Mary's Hall and St. Anthony's to kind of sneak in and get into the playoffs? I think it's going to be very I think seeds 2, 3, and 4 are going to be up for grabs. I think, like I said, Sancho Christian should not have any problems in this district and should win it.
Yeah, and just looking at the updated schedule or updated standing, San Antonio Christian is now 7-1. St. Augustine through there. Looking at San Antonio Christian, they beat Feast 4-0. They beat JP2 out of Shirt 7-0. They beat New Braunfels Academy 8-3. Beat Geneva 7-1. Beat the Christian School at Castle Hills 9-0. Beat Bernie again 7-0. Lost to St. Michael's Catholic, the D1. They're a D1, Region 1 school. That lost to them 2-1. And then yesterday they beat St. Anthony 8-0. So looking at their scores, they're putting up goals. Looking through there, the one tough match against St. Michael's, which playing up a level, which you can talk about more on the TAPPS side on how that matters or doesn't matter for that here. But so far, an interesting schedule for them. They don't play. They play 14th against St. Augustine Laredo at home at 2 p.m. And then they don't play again till Regents, and then they play in a tournament. Looks like Pleasanton High School, the 9th, 10th, and 11th. They'll play a tournament. What's probably what Pleasanton tournament?
Texas, yeah.
Well, yeah. So, like I said here, so they'll be playing, local San Antonio schools after the break. But San Antonio Christian's looking strong as far as looking at the results.
Yeah, that one game with St. Michael's, like I said, that they're playing a division up, so it's good to test themselves. They came short, but you're going to see they're already kind of flexing their muscle in this district. And like I said, on the 14th they got St. Augustine. We'll see how that goes. And there's no mercy rule in this here in TAPPS. So you're looking at the scores there. So I think one thing about San Antonio Christian, I think they could be a sleeper team in the playoffs and maybe get deep in. Who's to say they don't get that state title? I think they have a great opportunity this year the way they're playing right now.
So this is probably as far as for the changes, the biggest changes when it comes to TAPPS on the realignment for that here. Geneva 2-3-1, San Antonio Christian the Christian School at Castle Hills 2-4. Holy Cross hadn't played it when I did this. Neither had Corpus Christi or the Ignarda word from Corpus Christi. Or the St. Paul the second from Corpus. Neither one of those schools have played, or at least nothing has been reported. The San Antonio, the Christian School at Castle Hills did pick up another win, and just recently here for that here. So your thoughts on this one here? The reason why I say it's the split is because JP2. And Our Lady of the Lakes and the Atonement Academy, also in the San Antonio areas, will be in District 6 with the New Braunfels Christian Academy for there. So they split this Division 3 region or District 3 Division 5
or 3
or Division 3. Yeah, I don't know.
It's probably a division. Yeah, it's probably a Division 3 District 5. Yeah, I think that.
There it is.
But this, this district, it's going to be even. I don't think may not have a clear favorite here. It may come down to, some key. Like I said, like some key who can steal a game from each other at their place. And. I think Geneva's. I think they have an opportunity to do that. Same thing with the Christian School. Holy Cross hasn't played yet, so we don't know how sharp they are right now. This is gonna be an interesting district, and then the other, like I said, we're gonna mention right now. Then the other district, they used to be stacked, and now they decided to split them up. So, and speaking with the other district,
Church John Paul II, 4-2-1, New Braunfels Christian Academy, Kerrville Our Lady of the Hills, and the Atonement Academy Crusaders. The Atonement is new, right? Or a younger school?
I think this is their third year in winter soccer because they used to play the fall soccer for TAPPS. Yeah. So, but they've had, I think last year they had a really good season. This is going to be a real tricky district. We know, just with 4 teams, but you know how JP2, New Braunfels Christian, those two always kind of battle it out and get it going for that. And Kerrville, I'm sure they're going to show some, try to see if it can be a spoiler and maybe kind of throw a monkey wrench in there, to get to the district title. And Atonement may, like I said, I think you can't take them lightly. And maybe they'll be the surprise this year, like kind of the surprise last year when they made the playoffs. And
we'll have to do some research to see how many make the playoffs for this year. I've tried digging around, haven't found anything out yet, but I'll be doing a little bit more digging now that the season has kicked off here. So let me ask you kind of a question, and we kind of talked about when we did the realignment show here for this year. Splitting the districts up like this, does that hurt teams like JP2 and other strong teams where maybe they're not getting that in district toughness? If especially if you look at some of the Dallas districts and stuff like that up at North Texas, the DFW area, where the districts are a little bit more stronger top to bottom. And I'm not trying to disrespect the other schools, but there are levels when it comes to these schools, and I know at the Region 3 or District 3, for that here, it does matter a little bit.
Yeah, for them splitting up, I think what it allows them, I guess you can say there's more opportunities for those two teams. Teams that maybe want to make the playoffs. It's opportunity for them. Yeah, maybe does it water down a little bit as far as competitiveness. Like I said, having a 9-team district doesn't really give you enough room to play some non-district games or maybe a tournament. Maybe you'll be able to sneak in one or a couple. But here, like I said, there's really no room for error when it comes to like a big district here. Like I said, you have opportunities and you can play. Some tougher games to make up that, not being a real tough district, play some, if you kind of take a look what SanAntonio Christian did, playing up against St. Michael's, I think that gives them opportunity to test themselves and get them prepared because they're going to see that in the TAPPS playoffs, come late February, early March.
And Coach Cano, not really directly, but shout out to New Braunfels Christian Academy, who upgraded to beautiful new facilities. So Coach Cano is trying to rub it in that New Braunfels has better facilities than us. Is that what I'm hearing?
I'm sure there's a nice complex there. So if they're watching, maybe they can send us pictures of that. Yeah, there are some places, some schools that have some nice. I think they have upgraded some of their fields and so forth. So, which is a good thing because, like I said, they're investing in the sport. That's the positive side about that.
Yeah. So looking at the ladies, so SanAntonio or Antonian 5-0-3, TMI 3-3, Incarnate Word 3-4-2, St. Michael's 3-1, and St. Dominic Savio Catholic 0-1-1. Still very early, but you have to like Antonian start 5-0-3.
Yeah, they've been one of the consistent teams here year in, year out, and but now that you add in the mix with St. Michael's that's going to be an interesting game between when they face off each other. Like I said, that's probably going to determine who wins this district. You have TMI moving up, and like I said, the TMI girls have had success. Like I said, in Division 2, now they're in Division 1. see if they can make the playoffs. So far, like I said, they're starting out 3-3. Another schools that waiting to see if they're going to kind of break through in Incarnate Word. They've kind of been, one of those teams that it's kind of they've been in the middle of the road teams, and is this the year? Even though they're have a losing record right now, but they're challenging themselves. Is this the year they kind of break through and get to the playoffs and maybe win a couple games? And then, like I said, then you're grouped up with those two Austin schools, so it's going to be a tough district again, just kind of like the boys. But it should be a fun one. And like I said, I think it's going to come down to here with Antonio and St. Michael's.
So for Antonian's schedule, just because they got off to a pretty impressive start, they beat San Antonio Christian 2-0, beat New Braunfels Christian 7-0, drew St. Mary's Hall away, so Coach Connell's old team, beat HCYA 3-0 at home, drew Houston Christian. I'm assuming this was a tournament 1-1. Beat Liberty Christian, a school in Argyle, and beat Geneva School of Bernie 2-0, which is impressive. And then drew St. Prius Catholic 0-0 for that here. And then they play this weekend Regent School of Austin for that here, but. So the draws against St. Prius, against Houston Christian, and against St. Mary's Hall. No blowouts really per se, and like we're not, we haven't seen it. So 2-0 could be kind of convincing. They're just not running up the score. But your thoughts kind of on the schedule for the Lady Apaches?
I think they understand that when it comes to the TAPPS playoffs, especially for Division One, the teams that have been dominating have been the Dallas area teams. And I think they fully understand that they have to challenge themselves. I think that's why they're playing some of these teams early on, because they're going to see them again, especially, the Houston teams, because they're going to be in their bracket, second, third round, possibly first round, second round, third round, all the way to want to get to Round Rock. So, it's only going to help them get better. And I'm sure, like I said, they have some game schedule, probably get some UIL teams coming on in January. I think they're going to be, not mistaken, I think they're part of they're their Northeast ISD showcase. I remember talking to Coach Connor. I think they were going to be, Tony was going to be in that. So a good test for them. Like I said, they're not going to shy away. It's going to get them prepared, and I think they're looking for a breakthrough, see if they can make a deep run and try to kind of end that. Just been dominating, the last, pretty much the last few years, winning state titles. So hopefully we'll get a state champion for the girls' side here in San Antonio.
And then moving to District 2 or District 3. That's what District 3. I gotta fix the titles because they're all whack.
Division 2,
District 3. For that here, San Antonio Christians, the ladies 6-3-1, San Antonio St. Anthony 0-1, and San Antonio St. Mary's Hall 1-2. As we just discussed, St. Mary's had a draw against the Lady Apaches from Antonian. So, your thoughts on this 4-team district?
Yeah, this is a. Pretty much, it's St. Antonio Christians. Like I said, they should be the favorite. And then, as far as seeding, it's going to be determined. I think it's going to come down to either St. Mary's Hall, St. Anthony, who gets that runner-out spot. They've had some good games the last couple of years. I remember going to one a few years ago. I don't know, Coach Connell was there at St. Mary's Hall. That was a really good game. So it's going to, like I said, I'm sure they're wanting to maybe be able to host, get that 2 seed to host. I'm sure like Santa Christian should be able to host one as well in the first round. But the one thing is, can San Antonio Christian, and I know we did our little bracketology for TAPPS. We kind of picked them kind of to go far, but then it kind of fell short. Mm-hmm. So is this their year to finally kind of break through and get to Round Rock and win it? And like I said, they may have the team to do it this year.
And then the last but not least, they did it right here in Division 3. District 4. Geneva 2-3-1, JP2 3-2-1, New Brunswick Christian 3-5, the San Marcos Lady Bears 1-5. Nothing out of the JP2 out of Corpus. Holy Cross 0-5, and the Atonement Academy, the Lady Crusaders, lost their first district match and first match of the year to Geneva. Last year, this was Geneva and JP2 for that year. Are we thinking it's going to be the same thing?
Remember, New Braunfels Christian was in it too. I think it was a 3-horse race on this one, and then Geneva and GP2 kind of pulled away a bit. So this is, I think this year, I think those are the same 3 teams that are going to challenge again. But I'm as far as district title wise, I'll give the edge to Geneva and JP2. It should be another classic between those two. It was basically like a heavyweight boxing fight between one got the best of the other one, and and so it should be another exciting season between those two teams. That 4th spot, we'll see who it goes to. I think it's pretty open. And I know Holy Cross hasn't started on the right foot right now, but who's to say they don't? I mean, who's to say, if can come into district play, maybe those games that they've lost have been with quality teams and maybe get them prepared for this, because I'm sure they fully understand they're in a really tough district. They know 3 of those teams have made deep runs last year, so I think they're probably getting them prepared. I think maybe even Atonement too. I think it could come down to if they can see if they can get that 4th spot and try to leapfrog over San Marcos and also JP2 from Corpus.
So that's where we're at with the TAPPS. With TAPPS, it's early. They get in before the winter showcases. I guess that's really what they're called, right? The winter showcases for because they don't like calling them tournaments or along those lines, because outside of the I-10 one, there's really not a lot of brackets to them. The one I-10 came out with their brackets and setups for the schools. Me and Rafa, and I'm sure Coach Kano, well, maybe Coach Kano won't say this publicly, but we'd love to see a tournament between here, SanAntonio, host one like the I-10 tournament over there in Katy, even if it was kind of a partnership with the schools in Austin, kind of have a Central Texas where you had, both boys and girls come into town and have a national tournament with some elite of the high schools. But we'll probably save that later when we get closer to that for that here. But changes to the 4A. We kind of talked a little bit initially. The biggest change is splitting it between Division 1, Division 2. Yeah, let me see here. And then, so this is how the realignment came out. 25 is going to be the Austin schools. 26, you got Bandera, Canyon Lake, Davenport, Fredericksburg, Marble Falls, Wimberley, Gonzales, Lavernia, or District 27, Gonzales, Lavernia, Kennedy, Memorial, Lowling, the San Antonio young men's or women's, depending on which side. San Antonio Cole moves up, and was it Yelcomb for that here? And then 28, Floresville, Purcell, Pleasanton, Somerset, Uvalde, Hondo, and Poteet. And then you get down to the Corpus schools, 29. Corpus Christi schools going to be, Corpus and Kingsville, Rockport, Fulton schools. 30 and 31, 32 are going to be more the Rio Grande Valley, RGV, and then 32 is going to be down in Brownsville, area there. So, your thoughts just initially on for Region 4. I know with Coach Kano and the 50-50 podcast, you guys look at the other regions, but for here, especially District 26, 27, and we'll kind of go over those a little bit more in detail. But your thoughts on the Austin or the Corpus, RGV, Brownsville, Laredo schools on those?
Well, if you notice, there's one school that's missing. That's pretty much has dominated Region 4 for 4A, and which we'll talk about them next week since they bumped up to 5A. So this is going to be pretty open. But also you have some teams that move down from 5A to 4A, like for example, the District 25. Keep your eye on Austin Northeast. That team made a run a couple years ago in 5A. I think they may be the favorite for this, one of the favorites in the region. Same thing with Austin Achieve. I think Austin Achieve had a good run last year too. Marble Falls is another, which we'll discuss when we get to 26. If you look at the Corpus Valley area, Corpus Christi London's been the staple there in Corpus, and I think they'll make another deep run again. And like I said, they had a good battle with Bernie last year. Here's the interesting one. Is Hidalgo and Valley View. Valley View, moves down from 5A to 4A, and interesting enough that Valley View's coach used to coach Hidalgo. So I'm sure he's got a lot. I'm sure he's gonna probably want some little revenge against them, and that game's gonna be very interesting when they play in the district and wise. And then and if you look at a couple other teams there, the Idea schools, especially the Brownsville Idea ones, they've done some good things over there, especially like the Sports Park College Prep. That I think they had a good run last year. So this Region 4 is gonna be open, but you do have some favorites. But now, like, you have Division 1 and Division 2. So the matchups, depending on your student population, it's gonna be very interesting. Where you land could determine how deep you can go, and what match, who do you avoid and so forth. And that's, I know me and Coach kind of discussed a little bit, off camera about that. It's going to be interesting. And now we're going, like I said, going to District 26 here.
So looking at 26, and this is the kind of what Rafa's talking about here. You'll see, like, next to Bandera, according to the UIL, they had 702 student athletes, not students, students for the school for it. But yet you've got Canyon Lake at a little bit over 1,000. Davenport close to 1,300. Marble Falls dropped down to 1,168. Fredericksburg and Wimberley for that here. So as you can see, there's a pretty big gap at the 4A level, because I think if you really think about it, Bandera is probably a 3A school. If soccer was at 3A, I think they play 2A in football, if memory serves me right.
Well, I think they actually do play. They do play in 4A for football.
Oh, do they?
So they do. Okay. Yeah.
So,
but there is a gap there. You can see them with 702 students compared to Davenport, where they're at 1,295. So
the top four, basically they split them off. So let's say it's these four that are finished. Even though Bandera finished first, they would go to the Division 2 playoffs, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, them and Marble Falls, them and Canyon Lake would go Division 2. Davenport would go, and Marble Falls would go Division 1. And then depending on, let's say for example, Bandera finished first, so they'll get the top seed for Division 2, and then Davenport would get, if they say they finished third there, they would get the top seed for Division 1. So it's basically kind of the same format like what the football teams use right now. Like if you look at you follow Texas high school football playoffs, this is going to be interesting because there are some teams if you look at kind of like Fredericksburg and Canyon Lake, they're kind of at the cusp. They could go Division 1 or they can go Division 2 depending. So let's say Davenport makes the playoffs, Fredericksburg makes playoffs, Canyon Lake, and you have Wimberley. So now now Fredericksburg becomes a Division I team. So you're gonna have some very interesting scenarios here. But as far as district wise, I think it's gonna come down to Davenport and Marble Falls. I think those are the two top teams in that district. Marble Falls had a great season last year. I'm expecting good things again from them.
And they dropped down, right?
Yeah. Well, no, they just changed districts. They were in District 25 last year.
Okay.
Yeah. So they're now they're gonna go toe to toe with Davenport. It could be a little dark horse here. Same thing with Fredericksburg. Canyon Lake last year kind of had a little disappointing season last year, and we'll see if they can bounce back. And then, like I said, Bandera, we'll see what they can do this year too. But as far as the two favorites, I think as far as playoff wise, I think it's probably going to end up being Marble Falls and Davenport going D1. D2, I can see maybe Fredericksburg and Wimberley, and which, like I said, going to Division II, guess what? Now you avoid Davenport and Marble Falls in the playoffs. So now it makes it's like I said, when we get to bracketology, it's going to be very interesting. Compare I know how we made the picks with you Coach Connor and Steve. It's going to be interesting now how these scenarios are going to come to, because you may have a situation that you may be able to sneak in and get to that state semifinal and possibly even get to the state final. You might even avoid some of these playing these teams.
And this might be something that they're there. Didn't they make changes to the playoff structure as well? I didn't look that up. So do you remember what that is?
Yes. So it's basically they're following what football does. So Region 1 plays Region 2, Region 3 plays Region 4. And how Region 1 and Region 1's been dominating, and and now it kind of changed. And now Region 4 now it's an opportunity maybe for Region 3, Region 4 to get to a final. Not that they haven't been to a final, because we've had some Region 4 teams get there. So it's gonna, like I said, it's gonna be very interesting.
Didn't normally they change the playoff structure as far as the number of rounds as well? And like I said, I should have researched this a little bit.
No worries. Yeah. So now we don't have a regional quarterfinal. So it's not, instead of 7 games, now we have 6 games. We no longer have a regional tournament like we normally had, like on the weekends. And as far as the state tournament, normally you'll have like the state semifinals, and then you have the state finals. Well, the state tournament is basically all state finals. It's going to be Thursday, Friday, Saturday. I think they're going to play like 4 games each day. So you're going to have teams that are going to be fresh, and that's the thing. Remember last year, if you look at some teams, like especially 4A, like 4A boys, they had to play back to back. If you got lucky enough to make it to the final the next day, and even if you played an overtime game, you still had to step it up. So now it kind of allows you to get there's going to be some little breaks kind of in between to allow you to kind of recover. So I think it's going to allow them to be better games. I kind of wish maybe they did each, the rounds maybe every weekend. I think instead of playing Tuesday nights and so forth, I think they could have maybe stretched that out a bit, because I think that would be a better quality games for students, and also allows them better recovery time. And that's the thing, when you play a playoff game and then you saw a lot of them played Thursday because they knew they had to play on Tuesday. They wanted that extra day to recover. So this is going to allow them just a little bit, especially going towards the state, and then also going to the state semifinals. You're going to have to play at a neutral site, or unless you're feeling froggy, you're going to play home and home. Maybe. You get that state semifinal game. Hey, you know what? I want that Houston area team to come over here to San Antonio. Let's play home and home. It's going to be fun. So come, when you watch bracketology before, it's going to be more fun this year with all the different scenarios now, and depending where these games are going to be at too. So it's going to be a blast.
And then looking at District 28 boys, Floresville, Pearsall, Pleasanton, Somerset, Uvalde, Hondo, Poteet. just kind of going through Pearsall, Hondo, and Poteet are real young programs for that here. And like I said, that if there was a 3A, they would be playing in there. So I think Pearsall was year 2, because I think last year was the first one for them. So we'll see if they take a step. Hondo, we were out there the first year and they put out a good product. Poteet, same, but Uvalde and Floresville, I think and Pleasanton. Pleasanton was either the surprise or disappointment. I forget which one last year for that. But I know Floresville and Uvalde historically are very strong when it comes to this district.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so last year we had Floresville win the district. Pleasanton finished 4th. Just to kind of go down, let me see here. Somerset finished 3rd. And then your runner-up for 28, I'm trying to get that, was Uvalde. So those are the teams. Hondo was kind of like on the cusp of getting there, but they kind of faltered towards the end. This might be a little more balanced season as far as district-wise. I still got to, as far as favorites, you still got to give it to Floresville. But keep an eye on Somerset. Maybe this is the year they make that, try to contend to that title. Uvalde's always been a team that's always kind of also, they have slow starts, but when they get to district play, they play well. Same thing with Pleasanton, and we'll see. The main thing is, I know Pearsall and Poteet still, trying to get things together. They're still kind of young with those programs. They haven't really kind of set themselves yet as far as establishing themselves. But hopefully they'll get there soon enough. But Hondo, can they overcome what they missed out last year and kind of put it together and sneak in and get that last playoff spot? Get into the 4th spot and then see what happens there, because for sure they're going to probably play in Division 2 for the playoffs. So here, an interesting scenario, like I said, with Somerset, Uvalde, and Floresville, either one can end up being a Division 1 or Division 2. So like I said, more likely, like I said,
4 students, the difference between Uvalde and Somerset.
Yeah, so if Somerset and Uvalde make the playoffs, there's your Division 1 teams. Floresville may Floresville, they can win the district and end up being Division 2 and make a deep run. And because, like I said, 4A is going to be interesting now because, like I said, some of your team, some of your kind of your elite teams would have kind of like the Division 1 student population. So Division 2 might be interesting because we may have a surprise when the region this year, or depend. Like I said, it's going to depend where you land as far as where especially with your student population, where you land in the playoff spots, especially if you make the playoffs.
And then District 20. Okay, so that's District 28. So I have these. This was in the wrong order. District 27. You have Gonzales, Lavernia, Kennedy, Memorial, Lowling, Young Men's Leadership, Cole, and Yelcombe Bulldogs here. So, thoughts on this one here? You got, to me, you almost got a thousand student difference between Kennedy and the Young Men's Leadership. So, a huge gap.
Yeah, this is this should be an interesting district. Your clear favorite has been Lavernia. We'll see as far as has graduation took a hit on them. I know last year they made a good run last year for some a couple of years before they had some disappointing results earlier in the rounds. They're able to kind of go deep this year. We'll see what they have coming back. Kennedy and Memorial have ever since they've moved down from 5A to 4A, they've really taken full advantage being here and been competitive. So I see them in the mix. I think Gonzales, I got to see them play last year. There's some talented players there. I think I saw them play Fox Tech last year. That was a pretty good game. I think those are your 4 that are probably going to.
What about Lowling? Because Lowling moves over, right?
Well, this is their first year varsity play.
First year.
So they play, So last year they played JV. This is kind of like a JV kind of little all schedule. So this is the first year, and like I said, Lillian's actually a 2A team. Like I said, they're playing a couple, some schools that have a higher population. So like I said, than them. So we're actually a 3A team. So we're really kind of moving up. So, but we're not sure what they have as far as talent wise. I don't know what kind of what they did last year, who they played. So it's like I said, we'll see what they do this year. Entering the varsity level. Same thing. I think it's the same thing with Cole. Cole. They've played a non-UIL schedule. They've played some games in the past. Now they're making that step up to UIL. Could they be maybe a little dark horse there? We'll see. Same thing with Yoakum. Yoakum's still kind of a young program. Same thing, Young Men's Leadership too. They're a young program. So you have some experienced teams with some young teams, and it's you could see some lopsided games, and that's where maybe that mercy rule might come into play. I kind of call it the Palestine rule, but the Palestine mercy rule. But it's gonna. But this should be a fun district because I think, like I said, Gonzalez, Lavernia, Kennedy, and Memorial, they always play some great games. So I think those are your top four. The more likely are going to move on, and then. We'll see how they do as far as once again to Division I, Division II playoffs.
Yeah, I'm interested to see Cole and Yoakum Bulldogs. I'm interested to see Cole with the step up from them to going into the UIL for that year to see how that translates. And then Yoakum and Gonzalez last year, they kind of mirrored each other for a little bit, and then Gonzalez had the late season push to see if Yoakum kind of matures a little bit more for that year. And then moving to the girls for 26, Bandera, Canyon Lake, Davenport, Marble Falls, Fredericksburg, Wimberley. Your thoughts on the ladies for 26?
Well, just like the boys, which I forgot to mention. Well, the one common denominator that's there is the Bernie Greyhounds and the Lady Greyhounds. Now they're moving up to 5A, which we'll talk about next week. Is this like I said, is this year for Davenport? They've been close. The Achilles heel has been Bernie high. Even though Davenport got the best of them during the district season, but in the playoffs, Bernie got them back. Is this their year to finally break through and get to the state semifinals and win the region and then get to state semifinals and maybe even to the state final? A team that's going to challenge is going to be the Wimberley Lady Texans. They've had a good squad the last few years. They've been in the mix. I think those are probably going to be your top two teams for the district, but also don't count out the Lady Hawks for Canyon. They've also, remember, they had a couple upsets last year too. So I think those are your three teams that are more likely going to advance to the playoffs. And that fourth spot, I think it's going to be up for grabs. Is this, this year, is Marble Falls going to be able to get this one? I think maybe Fredericksburg. I think this could be the year Fredericksburg finally gets that get into the playoffs, and maybe they'll be able to make a run. I think I've heard some good things about their program, and now it's a great opportunity. Now that, like I said, one of the powerhouses is no longer there. And maybe that gives us an opportunity to get in and get into the dance and see how far they can go. But I think out of the four, like I said, it's probably going to be Davenport, Wimberley, Canyon, and more like I think Fredericksburg. But I think for district title wise, I think it's going to come down to it may be a three team race. But I think I'm going to give the edge to Davenport and also to Wimberley. I think it's going to come down to those two.
What's funny is Wimberley, who's your favorite, would go to D2.
Yeah, and if they go to D2, they could be the one that wins the region. That'll be very interesting there. I think they could do. I think depending, for the other teams, like I said, the one that, especially on the girls side, the one that's been doing a lot of damage has been like Corpus Christi, Cal Allen. I think also the London team. Depending where they're at, in the playoffs, Wimberley could have a clear path to win Region 4 in Division 2.
Hey, we're getting some feedback on your mic. I don't know if it's not bad, but it is something that we're able to pick up a little bit for that here. Moving over to 27, I got it right this time. Gonzalez, Lavernia, Kennedy, Memorial, Lowling, Young Women's, Cole, and Yoakum Bulldogs for that. Your thoughts on the District 27 for 4A?
As far as the district favorite, it's going to be Lavernia. I think they proved it last year. I think they're going to be the team to beat. The other 3 spots, I think they're going to be up for grabs. I did see Yoakum play last year. They were kind of in the mix, and the Kennedy girls. I was actually at that game. Yeah, the Yoakum Kennedy girls game. That was a good match, and Kennedy was able to get a win that kind of propelled them into the playoffs. The one interesting team is going to be Gonzalez, the Lady Apaches. Can they kind of get it together and get into the make a run to themselves? So out of the, like I said, Lily, brand new program. We're not sure what they're going to have. Same thing kind of with Young Women's Leadership. I know they're not a new program.
They were solid last year. They just don't play a lot, and that's the hard thing with the Young Women's is they didn't play a whole lot during and this kind of goes for Pearsall as well, where they didn't play in the early season and we're like, hey, are they playing? And then they came and played, at district. So hopefully they'll get a few more matches underway, and I don't know if it's just a head count, body count that's playing. But SA Young Women's did put up some impressive results here where they were in contention for that 4th spot, but they just couldn't get it over the line here. So, but this district last year was, it went down to the final week.
Yeah, so it's I think if they can kind of get it together, get a good non-district schedule to kind of get them prepared, I could see them also keep it. Like I said, I think out of the 4, like I said, Cole's brand new, moving up, into the realm with the UIL. But as far as like I mentioned, district-wise, as far as district title, it's probably going to be Lavernia. But as far as the other 3 spots, I'm going to give the edge to, I think, Kennedy will probably be your runner-up, and then it'll probably come down to, I think, Gonzalez, Yoakum, and I think maybe this is a year for Young Women's Leadership. I think if they can, it can count on those 3. Don't be, like I said, also keep an eye on Memorial too. They could sneak up on somebody as well.
In USL, an expansion team made the finals both for USL League One and USL Championship. So Lowling, rooting for you. And then the last district that we'll cover here tonight, 28, Floresville, Pearsall, Pleasanton, Somerset, Uvalde, Hondo, and Poteet. Uvalde's been strong the last couple of years. Floresville's been solid. And Pleasanton and Somerset have been the other 2. Pearsall, Hondo, and Poteet have struggled. Just, young programs along those lines for that here. It'll be interesting to see kind of the steps that they improve, for that here. And I know we follow Hondo. I follow Hondo a little bit closer because they're closer to where we live, or where I live on the southwest side ish of SanAntonio. So your thoughts on Floresville, Pearsall, Pleasanton, Somerset, Uvalde, Hondo, and Poteet?
I think as far as the district favorites are probably going to be Uvalde and Pleasanton. I think those are your 2. I know it was last year was kind of almost like a 3-team race. I think you had Floresville in the mix for a while. But I think this year, I think it's going to be those. I'm going to tell you this: the Pleasanton girls have built a pretty good program. Can they take it to when they get to the playoffs? Can they take it to the next step? I think that. I want to see that. Same thing with Uvalde. I know 2 years ago they had a good run last year as well. I think I remember covering their game against Bernie there at Medina Valley. That was a very competitive game towards the very end. And but I think, like I mentioned, Wally Pleasant probably be you're fighting for the district title. Floresville, I think they'll be in the mix again in the playoffs. And that last spot, I'm going to give the edge to Somerset. Shout out to Coach Carranza. Like I said, he's been on the show before.
We do have to make it out there. He did invite us last year.
And so we'll make sure for that. Yeah. So if you have your coach, if you're watching, you have your schedule, send it out to us. So we can make sure we go out there. But he's actually built a pretty good program there. The last few years they kind of had a struggle, but once he's taken over, he's done a great job there, and so we look forward to see what he can do. And maybe, like I said, maybe he may be in contention this year. They may have some surprises and end up competing for that district title. Honda, we've seen them play, but maybe they took a little step back, and we'll see. We'll see this year. And like I said, with Pearsall and Poteet, I think they're still kind of, I guess the growing pains, being a new program, trying to get the players, trying to get them to learn the game and so forth. It's going to take a while for them, but like I said, always, they show a lot of good heart when like I said, we've seen them play a couple times, and they always give their best. So, but this should be an interesting district, and also, going into the playoffs, there's going to be better opportunities there, for those teams that should go into the Division 2.
So
I saw the question there.
Oh, yeah. I meant to put that back on. Never understood brackets and division. Who cares if you have 700, 1,500 kids if only 13 go out for soccer?
Well, when I coached at Del Rio, I had 150 kids come out for soccer. So I think when AJ said they had how many kids they're at?
91. Yeah, they had 91 at J.
Yeah.
And Coach Cano mentioned that he was up at that number or higher as well. So,
numbers do matter now. The starting 11, I think what it comes down to, some of the bigger schools are going to probably have maybe the depth, maybe compared to other schools. Maybe like the smaller schools, like. If you kind of look at Davenport, they're going to have probably a solid bench compared to maybe like Poteet, who you're still trying to get numbers of people to come out to play and so forth. So,
it's 100% the depth. Just because when you're subbing people out due to injuries or yellow cards, being able to replace them, it's 100% the depth that comes into play. The other thing, which I didn't have on the agenda, and this will probably become a play 5A and 6A, is MLS Next Academy teams are not letting high schoolers play high school soccer. So that'll be something that maybe we can kind of address going forward here, because social media here in San Antonio, and I guess even just in Texas in general, that caused a little bit of stir. But that's something it's not new. It may be new for San Antonio to really emphasize it, because I don't know if SAFC, when they were in MLS Next, because they were in there for maybe 2 years, so it may, and with them, it was probably 2-3 kids maybe, where I think with this MLS Next Pro, the MLS Next Pro, it's a little more of an issue. Didn't happen to Gallegos. That was the rumor. Jose played. Now he played TAPPS, which is a little bit different than UIL. So he did play, but
TAPPS season didn't interfere with I think with MLS Next really. I don't think, because I think he kind of played both. I think he was able to play both, because remember he didn't sign a pro contract. He was under that academy contract, so he was able to play both. But that thing's kind of it's a real controversial issue. I know a buddy of mine, Coach Art Trevino, he's over there at Fulshire, out in the Houston area. I remember he was telling me when he was with Katy May Creek, he had a dynamite team going to one season, but if he had I think there was 4 kids that were part of the Dynamo. Sorry, Matt, talk about the Dynamo. Your Dynamo Academy wouldn't allow them to play for my buddy's team, and I think he said if he had those 4 players, he probably would have been able to contend for that, for their Region 3 title that year. I think
Stevens had a player. Stevens had a player last year that was playing. I want to say with the Austin FC Academy, and he wasn't able to play with Stevens High School, and just so this is not new. I know it was kind of made stink new just with what River. I think it's what River. AC River. They're becoming kind of the prominent, taking over from what Juventus there at Soccer Central. To me, it's. I would like to have the kids have the option for that, but I do understand. I understand the MLS Next trying to protect their investment for that. Although for that here. So I understand both sides of it because it used to be high school coaching wasn't what it should be. I think it's getting better, but there are still some schools where they're still running football coaches or other coaches from other programs that don't necessarily have the licenses or the experience of soccer. So it's one of those. You can see the benefits of both for that here. I would like to see the kids have the option to be able to play if they wanted, or if you wanted to limit, the number of games they can play. Although you'd have to be kind of consistent, so that way they just don't stack it towards the playoffs where you got to play in a certain number of regular season matches or district matches for that. That way you're not just overthrowing a playoff team. But to me, it's. I don't know. It's,
like you mentioned about the coaching. One thing about especially with the high school coaching, it's gone better, and you got to give one organization you got to give props is Tasco, and when the Tasco Coaches Convention they're at Moody Gardens, some of the sessions they've run, I think that's really helped coaches around the state to get better. And I think they've kind of fully also understand, how to develop players, and also if they're already developed, how to keep them, at their level, and then also kind of understand the technical side and so forth. And if there's a high school coach, if you're a high school coach, you haven't been to the Tasco convention, you need to go because you're going to learn a lot. You're going to meet a lot of different people there. It's a great benefit, as far as learning how the game is, learning about small sided games, even also going on your own, taking your USSF licenses. I got 3 of them. I got 3 national licenses, and I think I'll learn a lot more. Being when I coaching club when I was in high school, and like I said, even I got into high school coaching again. I know I'll be way more prepared now, than I did because I fully understand what the source of development of the players. It's educating yourselves is going to help you that, and then hopefully maybe that'll get the trust of some of these academies, allow the kids to play, but also the kids should be able to play high school. One thing they need to understand, like I said, when you're at a club team, you have kids from different high schools. Not all of them get to play at the same school. I know with my club players, that the ones I had, I was looking to had core players that played for Edison. I had some that played for Alamo Heights. I had 3 of them that were from Laredo that played at 3 different high schools. I had a couple of kids from Austin. So, they don't have that kind of bond there. But here, when you're at the high school, you have a bond. Plus, you're playing for school pride. And I think the thing is when you put the crest, that matters, and it means a lot. Because when you look back and say, hey, these are my teammates, these are my brothers from my high school, because those are the ones you see every day at school. So hopefully this kind of. They kind of, as I say, patch it up, but kind of compromise on this and just let them play. I understand the risk for that because it is an investment, but got to trust the players and let them go out there, represent their schools, and like I say, it's a win-win for everybody.
One other thing that I want to do, and your friend that I think is the vice principal at John Jay. Former coach, really hyped this to the John Jay kids and parents. And I know the academy with through Premier and is they really hyped. Be respectful to the referees. There is a major shortage of referees. If you are able to go out and I don't know if it's volunteer. I think you get paid for it. But if you are able to be a referee, if you can, it helps out the local community. It's a huge benefit for that here. But just be respectful. I know that is something that UIL is going to be looking at. I know it's something that the referee, I forget the name of the referee association. Tasso is going to be really emphasizing this year. And this goes to the players as well. And I tell AJ, to kind of watch what he says to the referees and the shenanigans that he does is be respectful. The men and women that are refereeing are doing the best of their ability. Do they miss calls? Yes, 100%. They're not professional referees. A lot of times they're doing it from a second job, where they're coming from there. So please be respectful. I've gotten a lot better at it. So like I said here, to me, that's something that's, if we want to continue to have these games, and we have to have referees, because there's many times where they're supposed to have 3, right?
And they're doing duels.
Yeah, there's times that you see only 2. So just be careful. Watch what you're saying. I know it gets intense, especially on boys and girls. They play a physical side. Calls are missed. Like I said here, just be respectful. And I know that's something that as a society we've kind of got away from, I guess, a little bit, in my opinion, is respecting, people in authority, referees, coaches, along those lines here. So let the coach handle it. And if the coach gets a yellow card, red card, that's on him or her. But they have said at the meeting there that they will kick fans out. And more importantly, they'll stop and end the game if fans cannot stop abusing the referee along those lines. So just be careful. Please be smart. Don't embarrass your school by you saying something stupid, even if you think you're right. So, final thoughts, Rafa? I know I went on my little tirade. And I think that's probably going to be an emphasis of mine, is just, like I said here, just kind of doing the friendly reminders, because I do know that we have high schoolers that watch the show. We have a lot of high schoolers that are referees as well. So keep that in mind for club. We want the game to grow, and to grow the game, not only is the players, it's the referees and the coaching. So whether it's club or high school or rec, because there are some rec leagues around town here, the referees do volunteer not volunteer, they get paid, but they do volunteer their time to be able to do that. And it's to reward, for the kids for that. And this goes for all sports. I know we cover soccer, but, for whether it's football, basketball, baseball, volleyball, water polo, just be respectful to the referees for that here. But my question to you, Rafa, when is the Power 15 or whatever we're calling it this year? When are you expecting that to come out?
So I'm going to wait a little bit. Let the dust clear, because I know I've seen some polls out there. It's tough to judge teams from what they did last year. So, and it's always a thankless job, doing that, but like I said, I know, like Coach,
we like Lethal in his, preseason, AP top 25,
the BCF playoff and all that. Yeah. So I'm probably, like I said, I'm going to wait a bit. Like I said, I know with 50-50, we discuss, I do the research. I go down, I do not analyze to details, a lot of, you guys, I know you've seen it, what I've done, and I know Coach Connor, Coach Sanchez has seen too. Like I said, I get down to the bone on this, and because I want to make sure I get it right. It's like as far as with the teams and so forth, and it's not a popularity contest. Like I said, I'm gonna go. So what they've done, and like I said, I'm waiting for. Like I said, after a few kind of games, maybe right before district play, maybe the second week, third week, after kind of the dust settles from some of the non-district games or tournaments and showcases. But even as that, sometimes like in a just kind of read it, those non-district games, those district tournament, those tournaments or showcases. I remember as a coach, we use those games as to kind of determine, what kind of lineup we're going to have, what works, what doesn't work, what players are going to be part of the rotation with substituting and so forth. So, you may see some lopsided games here and there, but, you're experimenting. When it gets to district play, then you get serious, and, that's when you'll start to see who starts pulling, really kind of getting it together and who's really the team, the cream of the crop. And when it gets to your playoff contender team. So, but I'll have one coming out. I know I'm going to start working on one also with 50-50 for statewide. So I'll do one more likely for the roundtable. I'll do it probably early January once kind of the dust settles for some of the games. And like I said, you're going to see us out there, whether it's me, Matt, Coach Sanchez, like I said, we'll be out there, covering. It might be maybe doing a live stream or just kind of live updates. Like I said, it's going to be a fun season going into. Like I said, we're going to cover everybody, no matter north side, south side, west side, east side. Like I said, you'll see us there.
Do we want to talk about your 20th ranked Real Madrid real quick here in the Champions League? What's crazy is they are above Man City who's 22, and PSG, who's technically out of the next round at 25. And PSG and Man City play, I think January 11th or somewhere around there. To me, that's an elimination game. If you don't get the 3 points, I know they got one more game after that, but
is Jonathan going to be lighting a lot of candles that day? Has anyone checked on Jonathan after the Hoovie game?
Jonathan put it in our text saying, "Hey, he's waiting for the turnaround," and I was like, "Well, are you waiting for SAFC or Man City?" And I'm like, "There's really no difference because neither one turned it around at this point."
Yeah, I know with Real Madrid, I know they have all those injuries and stuff. It's kind of
Vinny Jr.'s out for a while too, right?
Yeah, he just came back. He scored his first game back, so. Yeah, and then the one also, like I said, hopefully, I think Mbappe got subbed out, but he had a little discomfort. But I think Ancelotti said he was fine. I think he'll be ready for this weekend. But I think once they get healthy again, I did see David Alaba's already practicing with the team, so that's a good sign. And a couple of other guys, I think when they can get it together, hopefully we'll get that 16th championship. And then also my other team that I used to coach for in the final. I know there's some controversy.
That was a PK. That should have been a PK called. The guy elbowed him.
He did. He was already diving already. But
still, there was contact for that here. But to me, the amazing thing about Man City, Liverpool's number 1, Arsenal's number 3, Aston Villa's at number 5. And then you have to go all the way to Man City at 22. Just to me, it blows me away that how far Man City is struggling this year. I know they got the points case that's supposed to be wrapping up sooner, is already wrapped up. I'm wondering if that's kind of affecting things. They're a little bit older team as well in the midfield, which is hurt them with Kevin De Bruyne's hurt. But yeah, that's the thing for me is just to me, them and PSG are the story, and even Real Madrid being at 20. If you would have said that at the start of this, people would have laughed at you.
But I think we had a healthy team. I think it'd be different, but like I said, you still have to play games, and that's. I mean, there were some games that thing. There's really no excuse how you play, but. But something like you mentioned, age does catch up onto you, and injuries does catch up. It does take a toll, and then also you're playing your league games too. Those are always competitive too. So you have to, it's tough to bring your A game, 3 days apart, and I think maybe with the amount of games that Man City has played, I think it's finally kind of catching up. Yeah, it's a kind of wear and tear, and I think maybe this is probably Pep Guardiola's swan song here to kind of go out and not say retirement, but maybe take a year off before he ends up coaching a national team or so forth. And
but think of this for a knockout. If this is how it ended up, you could have Atletico Madrid versus Man City in whatever that play-in round is, whatever play-in round that you're calling, and then Real Madrid and Atalanta.
The rematch. That'll be the third time they play each other.
Oh, really? So, and of course, there's still 2 games to play, but 6 have been played. So, like I said here,
a lot of people don't like this format. I don't think
I like.
And I know a lot of the players don't like the format because it doesn't give them enough time to. I think it was just too many extra games. I think even now you have the Club World Cup coming up too. They're playing in the summertime. You're going to have teams that are going to be just not at tip-top shape because, all the wear and tear from your league games, your cup games, and your Champions League games. I don't know. I think FIFA is just in too much of an overdrive on this, and I know the players are kind of getting fed up with that, and they needed to come with a solution there, and then also. I guess you saw today that Saudi Arabia was awarded the 2034 World Cup, and they're even complaining about that too because of how with Qatar.
When are they playing that? When are they playing that? During the summer, or are they going to move it to the winter again?
So that's probably more likely what's going to happen. They're going to do the winter again, which the players did not like, and I think that caused a lot of injuries too.
And the reason why I ask is. MLS, and we know USL's already talked about switching over to the winter calendar, the FIFA calendar. They're going to switch over. I think both of them will do it because I think we both saw having the championship games, like for people that don't know, the USL championship game was played at 10 a.m. Colorado Springs time, 11 our time, 12 o'clock on CBS, which was great. But it was played early. Now the fans from Colorado Springs showed up. They got just under 500,000 that watched it as far as that got tracked. MLS played their game, Saturday afternoon, going head-to-head against the SEC championship game. Drew less. Now, this, to be fair, it's on Fox, and there's Apple who doesn't report. It's like Paramount doesn't really report. But they lost half their audience from, the year before. And this is with the LA Galaxy, which is a legacy team, and the New York Red Bulls, which they're a legacy team too, I guess. They're one of the old schools, but they're both LA, New York markets. And I can see if you moved, and this is the reason why I think both of them do, because I think if one moves, the other is going to move, just because being able to do transfers and stuff like that. I think you're gonna see that happen, and I think that we're seeing that already with the USL Super League, which if you haven't watched, it's on Peacock. I know you got Dallas Trinity, but it's a fun league to watch. But I think it's showing that you can do that. And I think if they're able to do that, what that'll do is that'll change the playoff structure. Instead of having it go head-to-head against football, you'll have it go in June, which, you may be going against the end of the basketball season, but really going against baseball, which, to be honest with you, is probably a little bit better of a matchup to be able to go through, where you can kind of control it. Then it frees up the summer for all the summer friendlies that you could have, which, for that here. So it's something that I do think that's coming, like I said here, for the United States. I think it'll make transfers a whole lot easier for both USL and MLS. I know you're not a big MLS fan, but I'm trying to be a little bit more palatable to them, I guess I'll say here. I have a problem with Garber, not really a problem with the teams. I know you're more Liga MX. for that here. So, like I said, I just can't get into Liga MX. I don't know why. I haven't found that team that.
This is the team.
I've never
We're under the 3 feet.
I've never rooted for I didn't go to Man City, Man U. The only reason why I got into Newcastle is because they were getting ready, with the new ownership, they were getting ready to be relegated, and I got suckered into it. Other than that, my team in England's Accrington Stanley, which is a small, with their League Two now, and you kind of wonder how much longer they're going to be able to stay up through there. For that here, to me, they're kind of SanAntonio level for that here. Also, before we get out of here, because I do want to try to keep this at 90 minutes or less, tomorrow USL Cup is going to be announced, or an announcement about USL Cup. So it'll be interesting to see how that is. I think that's the Jägermeister Cup, which USL Championship is rumored to be involved this year. So that'll be kind of exciting. Seeing Texoma come in, and maybe in the future years, Corpus Christi come in as well into League One and play kind of a US Open Cup style competition. So, Rafa, we dusted off the mics, got choked up at the beginning, saw I need to go through and clean up the schedules here somehow. They got all out of whack for that here. Some things we want to kind of work on behind the scenes. I think to me, I'd like to, for me, kind of highlight, where I'll reach out to, you, Steve, and Coach Kano to kind of see if we can pick a game of the week for each of the, 6A boys, 6A girls, 5A boys, 5A girls, just to kind of highlight game of the weeks, for that here, just where we can emphasize those games. And those players for that here. Hopefully, standings will be updated. So if you're an administrator, please do that. Also, if I don't have the right logo for you, or if you have a new logo, if you'll send that to us or let us know on Twitter or Facebook, please do, or X, I guess is what it's called, or Blue Sky. If you're on Blue Sky, I don't think many clubs are right now, so that's why we're still kind of all over the place. And we will be doing a little bit more advertising of the show with this one here, with it being the first one. Needed to dust off and kind of test it out, make sure it works. And we saw, hey, there's still some kinks I have to work on. Rafa's still, with his knowledge, ready to go.
There's Aguilar 210, fellow Americanista there. What's going on with Madrid? Well, we got a bunch of injuries. We're in the infirmary right now.
I'm here.
Just wait. But they'll be back. Don't count them out. That's what they did. They always count us out. We're always coming back. But also, we'll also have maybe a TAPPS game of the week too. I think we're gonna give a shout out to them and give some love to them. For boys and girls. I think we'll do some live streams and some games. Kind of feature all around and just. It's going to be a really fun season coming up, and it's kind of a little trout lost my train of thought. And also, like I said, we'll have some rankings soon. Like I said, we have those up there, and also, like I said, we're just kind of dusting off the cobwebs after last year, just coming off the train of the SAFC Fancast. Which we were still waiting for a coach. Hopefully, we get a coach soon, but we'll see. Don't get your hopes up, but we'll see. Hopefully by next week. But maybe we're getting new jerseys too, so we'll see about that. But like I said, for the teams out there,
of some sort this week, who knows what it'll be? But and
but
for the teams, to the SAFC Pro Academy, making it to the USL Academy Finals. They lost in the first round, but still outstanding job of making it out to there. And then, like I said here, I know, was it the U12s for SAFC Pro Academy won? Was it Copa Reynaldos over in Houston? Which I guess is a pretty prestigious tournament, or for that.
Shout out to PC.
Level. Yeah, PC.
PC maybe getting some hardware. So shout out to him. So we're glad to have PC back here in San Antonio. Fan favorite there. But also, like I said, to the teams out there, like I said, if you are playing tournaments or hosting tournaments, let us know. like I said, we love to have your schedules out there. We can post them on there, our site with our Blue Sky, on our Facebook page, also on X. Like I said, we want to give you as much promotion as we can to, like I said, to spread the game. Also, like I said, what games, what tournaments you guys have. There'll be some interesting matchups we want to see, we want to check out, and we look forward to working with you guys again this year.
And Monday we're going to do a 5A preview. The goal is to start around 8, but where we're going to try to see if we can get 2 coaches. It may be a little bit later. I'm going to reach out to Coach Cano and the coach, Jay, was it Coach Poor, I think it is.
Coach Poor, yeah.
Yeah, Coach Poor. Reach out to him to make sure through there so that way they're not scrambling for that here. Ollie will work with the notifications. Like I said, I think it's just because we kind of set this up and then went for that here. But this weekend, or probably this week, I'll be setting up the shows for 5A on Monday, and then I think you said Wednesday for 6A.
I'll say 6. Which will be live probably live from Austin.
So
I might be in Austin. So we'll see.
We haven't lined up anybody for that, so we might, I don't know if we have any connections for 6A to see if maybe we can get somebody to kind of talk about 6A from a coach along those lines here for that here. But I do know that we do want to try to get more, coaches. I don't know about players because when we've had players on before, it's went. Some of them went well. Some of them haven't went well. We'll just say with bulletin board.
Maybe they come on with the coaches because we've done it. Like I said, if you come on with the coaches, that should be no problem.
So,
I know they're some are a little shy, but like I said, it's all good fun. Give some exposure for the players.
If you are open to that, like I said here, maybe it's something that we can do, pre-shoot a video early, just a questionnaire. I know it's something that I kind of want to try to do is maybe go a little bit more in the interviews. It just kind of ask, simple questions to highlight programs for that highlight. I don't know. To me, I want to do programs, maybe not specific players, just because, high school is supposed to be about the team, not an individual. For me, like I said, I know there are individual stars for that here, but, just to highlight the local coaches going around. But what's life without goals? We're out of here. Episodes 40 on a year that we didn't do a lot.
You ain't seen nobody like this. You ain't seen nobody like this. You hear my sound all over town singing. Whoa. You ain't seen nobody like this. You ain't seen nobody like this. You hear my sound all over town singing. Survive. Hey!